Many fans here in this shit.
Hello and welcome to MDG Media and to the final 9 holes here of the 9 Hill Open. This is round 3 back 9 MPO lead card coverage. We are here in Talsi, Latvia at Devon Kalnu Disc Golf Park, and really exciting course looking to test these breakout European players gathering to compete. One man, however, looking to really make a statement. Local player Balodis setting a pace on the field. We see him coming in to this back 9 as your leader by 11 strokes. It's going to take a lot for these other players to catch him, and it doesn't look like it anytime soon. We'll see if he can close out this tournament. A great hole here, hole 10, a 67-meter par 3 with the triple mando. It's really a pick your shot and shoot scenario. What players will be allowed, though, is to pick their preferred shot shape. You can throw backhand, forehand, flex, hyzer flip, pure hyzer. It's really about precision and speed control. Also nose angle, particularly important here. Softly downhill, players will need to control that nicely and show their touch through this small gap. See the huge skip, but is it enough? Looks like he did make it up and into the circle. Roland looking to play a hyzer flip and never gets it to flat, has made the triple mando, but finds himself very rightwards. Silver getting lifted a little bit by that wind, and you see the result for him there. Björn rather, Silver here. Looking to shape that flex, and off the ridge. The skip is immaculate and almost finds him that elusive one. Finds himself over the top and off the back. We see here from the drop zone for Björn, or off the sign, playing from the drop zone, although not with the penalty stroke. He did not miss the mando, happened to have just landed by it. Roland simply laying that one up. Rayners with a long chance, although he'll take a 3, no damage done. Silver as well, a little bit shy. The only one putting back uphill as well. Should allow him to putt with a little bit more confidence there, but he'll find it. So we're left with these short tap-ins. Hole 10 did average a 2.86, just ever so slightly under par. The shortest par 3 on the course, but certainly not the easiest. Here we are on hole 11, a 265-meter lengthy par 4. You'll see players look to shape something left to right. As you see the fairway softly bend, you have OB lining the left side, and way down there on the right side, players will be forced to play within these rolling hills and between these large guardian trees. As you fly through this late gap, you'll see the basket still very far away and slightly uphill for this final stretch, tucked close to this OB green, just at edge of circle, if not even slightly closer behind. Requires 2 huge shots to birdie. Rayners has some great power on both backhand and forehand. This thing is punching and flips the catch cam. Is even getting a roll. Look at this thing go. Pretty incredible. I'm not sure he understood why they clapped so late in the flight. But regardless, fantastic spot to be in. Roland with the backhand will need to control that left to right movement, make sure he does not fade too much. And just at the very end, you see that 130-meter marker unfortunately finds himself out and to the left. Really close to a great looking backhand for Roland there. Björn also playing the forehand, does shape most naturally, but doesn't give you maximum distance, although Reiners might disagree. I think the highest potential shot is the huge backhand that flexes out at the end, which we saw from Silver there, but you see what he's left with now. These spectators not aware of the lead card coming down the stretch. Very close to the landing zone there. He does get that slightly overturned, and fairways are close, but good drive there. Does give him some sort of long look. We go to Roland. This is going to be a second throw, but third stroke. He's going to want to put this on the green if he still wants to try and salvage par. He plays to that outside turnover, and look at the late flex. Fantastic shot by Roland. The unorthodox line really working out well for him. And Rainer's in such a good spot, he can see the basket. Playing the power hyzer or just barely. Incredible. Well played. In round 3, hole 11 averaged 4.57. Wow, another great throw. Almost cashing it. Just pins it instead. Oh, Björn with the smooth putt. Just doesn't drop there. Keeps its height and he finds himself off the top. Very solid par save with the OB stroke by Roland. Currently 1 stroke ahead of Björn. Reiners with yet another birdie to put his round to 6 under. Björn watched that one fall in. Shakes his head a little bit, but does find himself the par along with Silver. Here we are, hole 12. Another par 4, although 192 meters. This tee shot very demanding. You see this initial tunnel. Very narrow gap here between these branches. Players are expected to throw a tee shot up and through this tunnel, finishing ideally flat and straight pushing. The second shot will open up and present itself as a low hyzer. You see that this late water hazard offers a lot of difficulties as you really need to swing through. So as a result, a lot of players will blast the spike hyzer and try to go long, crash into the hill. The first shot is very tricky though, and requires likely a long flex shot, maybe just an extremely pure hyzer flip that lands flat without any fade. Rainer's opting for the first one, looking to turn over. This shot through the gap, and the height which he threw it with is also going to allow him to fade left. The man is just throwing great shots right now, one after the other. Pushing the distance, the lines, and hitting his gaps, most importantly here. Roland as well, shaping this one beautifully. And even slightly better than Rainer's, I think. More open on the second gap, although both of them likely to go up and over. We'll see Björn look to match that. There's the late flip on the left side. These guys playing it really clean so far. 3 fantastic shots. We'll see if Silver is able to replicate that, if he can ride this lead card wave here. And you see him catch the right side, but does come out at the end. Silver, I think, most frequent error on his tee shots has been overturning them. Could be a matter of disc selection or just trying to throw hard. But you can see, really from anywhere up there, you're given a chance to get to the green if you want it. And he's done just that. Really nicely done from that blind position. Great course awareness on that spike hyzer. As I mentioned, a lot of players will opt to go a bit long over, a bit short here, because of that water feature. See the slightly unorthodox forehand entrance to the green, but pinpoint precision there from Björn Marrandi. Great stuff. Reyners is also going to be looking at this forehand flex. These guys, you can see they are just blasting the trees and letting it fall where it may. Reyners in really just a Roland rather in a really perfect position off the tee, but does find the green flag. I was going to say, unfortunately, was really contending with that OB, but does end up safe, able to pitch up and take his par here on hole 12. Another hole that averaged a half stroke over par at exactly 4.5. Hole 12, a very difficult one, elusive to birdie. But of course, Balodis finds that one, continuing to storm ahead. Just some incredible play and incredible consistency, still bogey-free in this final round. Check out this tee shot. Hole 13, par 4, 205 meters, extremely elevated with this narrow gap right at the start. These guys are going to be blasting a hyzer likely through the gap and trying to flip slightly up to flat, really pushing forwards and then fading left towards the end with the drop off. You see OB lining the right side along the walking path there, as well as OB to the left if you fade out too early. The approach will be towards this secluded knoll green just behind the sand hazard. A really fun hole here, requiring power on the first, touch on the second, and as always, a good putt. Reyners is just ripping these discs, hitting his gaps. Pretty prime position. Björn through clean as well. You see him flip that up to flat. Sends the spectators scrambling, but does land in a safe position. Finds the applause. Yeah, you can flip this one up to flat. Ideally, you do have quite a forwards pushing shot, but ultimately all you need is a big hyzer, and that will give you a chance into the green. However, the closer you get does afford you a slower disc on the upshot, which can be really useful on these sloped and hilled greens with a lot of rollaway potential if you're coming in with these sharper discs. And Roland here blind to the sand hazard. Second shot often uphill. And great touch there into the base. Unfortunate hazard there for silver. We go now to Björn. On the second shot, I think a lot of these players know that the error is to go a touch long. Good run there from Björn, although that does leave you quite a scary putt backwards towards the hazard as well. Reyners, two perfect shots once again here on hole 13. The man has not thrown a bad shot in the last 3 holes. Frustration for silver, finds a lot of chains, but unfortunately on the left side does not stick it. We go now to Björn. Have to be confident on that putt. With danger behind, great to see him hit the pole there. Find his birdie. Roland as well, and Reyners finding his second 3 in a row, 7, 8, 9, as well as 11, 12, 13 now in this round, really stringing together these hot stretches. Here we are, hole 14. Another long uphill par 4. Common themes here at the 9-hill Open. This first one is really going to be a distance test. You have that one tree in the middle of the fairway, OB lining the left and the right side. But really, these players are going to want to push a large hyzer up into the hill, try to give themselves a chance on their second to penetrate through the tree line, enter the green, and find their putt. Really difficult to get there on the second if you don't push the distance on your first, but of course you do need to have control within this fairway with OB on both sides. One of the harder par 4s on the course. Rayners with another fantastic shot. I think at this point no one's surprised. Well positioned. And Björn, playing with fire in what's quite a generous fairway, unfortunately does find himself out of bounds on the right side. That is the trouble of trying to push the distance here too much. You saw Rayners, although he had a lot of turn, gave it the height, which negated the right side from ever even coming into play. Roland as well. Very line drive, very forwards pushing, just matching the slope well. Silver has had some issues here with overturned drives, but this one coming back very nicely. He is in a great position as well. And Björn here. Fortunately, even par is pretty much out of play. But good progress up the fairway. Roland here, we'll see if he can crest it, and he does. A great forwards pushing skip as well. Does find himself down the left side, but that is a look for birdie. Silver looking to shape one up the hill, finds too much early fade. Does find himself in the tree line. Rayners looking to play the wide hyzer, but also finds that left side, not quite turning it over, or I think he did intend to play that hyzer flip shade, just released it a bit early on the hillside with tricky footing. Very solid shot there. Rayners has left himself with a little bit there, connecting with some of those branches on the way. You see a similar stretched out putt there to try and manufacture some sort of angle. And no problem for him. Great par save to remain bogey free there with that strong putt. We go to Roland here. Does have a chance for the 3 on one of the hardest par 4s, and he just hits it right on the middle. It's a perfect putt. Great to see him find that confidence after some struggles early on the putting green. A little bit more frustration there for Silver, as he's not quite translating his opportunities and sometimes finding compounding errors. Björn there, just taking the single bogey, pretty much best case scenario after going OB so early on the right side. Does complete the throw in 4 holes. Silver also finding the 5. Here we are, hole 15, a 128 meter par 3. You have trees lining the left side as well as OB to the right, marked by the white stakes. This hole is just a very big hyzer if you have the distance. Otherwise, it's a soft flex with a strong leftwards finish right at the end. You'll see that the most common mistake here on this hole is fading left too early. It's much more of a straight shot than it may look, although you want that right to left movement towards the end. Roland now with the box, currently in second place here on hole 15, 2 strokes ahead of Björn after the bogey on the last hole. Roland with some great power there, really pushing that one out. You see that Rayner's, on a lot of these holes, opts to throw really high, and that allows him to go wide with it, knowing that he'll find that late fade. See Björn here, he is fading left pretty early, but I think actually quite a fortunate kick. He could have found a lot worse. From there, I think he can get out a little jump putt or Anheuser forehand. Should be a manageable par, although not an ideal landing zone, obviously. Silver playing it very wide. We'll see if he can find leftwards enough movement to have a putt. He'll have a low ceiling from about circle 2's edge. Yeah, very manageable. There's that little step putt I mentioned. That's all right, given the mistake. Early left can be much worse. Silver with a chance there. Roland with a chance, but just a little bit off to that left side. Will leave himself with a downhill tester. And Rayner's is dialed here at the 9-Hill Open. His home country has extended his lead to 13 strokes over second place. Here we are, hole 16. Downhill 70-meter par 3. You see that early mando to the right side, forcing players to go down the middle. And then this late mando on the left side, forcing players to play to the right. You see that although the shot is very straight, a lot of these guys are going to be shaping forehand hyzers or backhand anhyzers, pretty much to just try and take this second mando out of play. There's a lot of room to the right side, and really the only mistake you can make, given how close the first mando is to miss the second. So priority here will be hitting that late gap and then letting the hill filter them down, hopefully to a putting opportunity for the birdie. Finish here out to the left side, but kicked back to the right. I think that should be a very fine par chance for him. Roland just on the inside there with that forehand hyzer. Does kick to the left. We'll see Björn look to make the correction, but a lot of hyzer and even some nose up, throwing significantly downhill. You see him try to shake it off, just not quite translating his lines to the disc at the moment. Silver, however, hitting the gap cleanly, getting the super skip and the soft roll. I think that's a very common outcome there for the forehand hyzer. Throw it low, make sure you hit the second gap, and see what happens with the ground play. A slightly errant shot there, over Anheuser by Björn. Reiners lays that one up nicely. Another slight mound to the screen. We go to Roland. I think knowing the situation potentially between him and Björn, also very happy to lay that one up. Of course, a very dangerous putt to even entertain running. However, in these final holes, some of these guys really need it if they want to compete for the podium positions. Björn in the hot seat right now, though, forced to try and make plays. Silver here a little bit further back, of course, still playing for position, for finish, for payouts. Every stroke will count going into these final holes. Björn is able to find the 3. Solid par save for Silver. Little comebacker there left for him. Roland, no messing about there. As we'll see a par frame for our lead card on 16. Here you see hole 17 with many of the common characteristics of this course, a par 4, an uphill shot. This fairway, however, slightly less generous than some of the others. You'll see pretty narrow width that they need to land in. Fairway then bends 90 degrees to the right and continues to go uphill. You see the fairway even narrowing to this pinch point here, where it begins to open up again, basket up on the hill behind this last guardian tree. You can really dissect this into 2 straight shots, one to the corner and then one around it. Rayners with a strong line drive forehand. And in fact pushes it, I think, flipped up to flat a little bit too much, finding himself left side OB, although looks to be quite close. Does find the red flag. Roland here shaping that big flex, and look at that absolute prime position for Roland Kour. Can't throw it much better than that with the backhand. The forehand you can try to finish to the right and sort of take that shortcut line. Try to reduce the distance on the second as much as possible, but certainly not necessary at only 163 meters par 4. Although playing is a lot longer given the severe uphill. And this one is just too high. That nose up, dragging it out to the left. You see Silver there trying to manufacture something. Power flex from Rayners. Going forehand. He may have just snuck OB again. Unfortunate double OB for him. He will be taking his first over par score of the round, but honestly at this point he's earned himself enough of a cushion that he can afford to do that and still try to find the win here in his home country. Those drives were also very close to being safe. We see these upshots now contending. This late guardian on the green doing its job well, forcing players out to the left on the upshot, either with this line here or the more dangerous backhand. Fantastic shot by Silver. Puts himself up and on the green. Oh, and he drains it. Roland, what a roller coaster of a round this man has had. With bogey and double bogey in his first 4 holes, has just come back with a fury. You saw him really put it on, and great punctuation near the end of this final round for him there. I think that's been the story of this tournament for him. He has been contesting since the very beginning, and up and downs here and there, he has persevered through it, looking to be finding himself in second place going into that final hole. Rayners there, unfortunately taking a double bogey, 2 OB strokes, playing the hole in 4. Both of them very close to the line. Unfortunate to have that slight blemish on the scorecard after going bogey free for 16 rounds, but hey, his round is incredible, and as I mentioned, he can afford to do so. Going into hole 18 of the Nine Hill Open. A 110 meter par 3. Really interesting layout here on this one. You see this line dividing the fairway. Players need to either lay up before it or cross up and over onto this oddly shaped island, opening up to the right, narrowing in the middle, and then once again opening up on the green, where you will be left with this elevated basket to test your nerves at the end of a long tournament. Have Roland up first. You'll see pretty much all of these guys playing this soft fighting hyzer so that they at least cross in bounds, and he skims off the wood, almost able to stick it. unfortunately skips off that hard surface. We'll see Björn try to make the correction and find a little bit more hyzer fade. And he too is bombing that line a little bit too long, a little bit too straight. The wind's looking like a soft left to right. I think a lot of these discs getting pushed. And you see Silver looking to make the correction here. And he skips in and once again out. The crowd knows that one hurts a little bit. We'll see if our leader, Reyners, is able to find the green. And he digs it, leaving himself with that short putt to find himself the winner of the Nine Hill Open. And you see, unfortunately, from the drop zone there, Roland unable to stick it. We will have Björn looking to make a correction. This looks to have a slightly more gentle touch, but it also, I mean, these guys are matching each other shot for shot at this point. You can see just how low the walls are of this island. It's very easy to land in but end out just like that. And it's only drop zone off the tee shot. After that, it's playing as a normal OB line, so they just play from where they crossed. Roland will be tapping in for the 5. And that potentially was an opportunity for one of those men to separate. But with that putt there, Björn Marrandi taking 3rd place, Roland Kour in 2nd place, and Balodis, the 9-hole MPO champion and newly crowned PDGA Euro Tour champion. One of the most dominant performances in recent history. What a fantastic outcome to this exciting and fun tournament. We appreciate all of you joining us here for this great action. Your leader, Reyners Balodis, ending with a round of 8 under, 16 under total. Roland, 3 under, and Björn at even. Thank you for your support. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we are not too far away from the 2024 season starting either, so make sure to join us in May where we kick that off with the Belgium Open. My name is Connor Wood. Thank you for joining me throughout these rounds. Have a great time, and we look forward to catching you at the next one.